Welcome back over here to the hunting lodge. If you're just joining us, we're on this 1,100 acre ranch. This is a really cool project. Excited to be on this one. But today I'm going to be doing some pocket door split jamb install. I want to show you guys how I do it. There's several ways you could do this. We've got some pretty big pocket doors. We got the biggest ones in already. We had like a 4x9, two 4x9 doors. It took a lot of us to kind of lift those suckers up and really just unload them even from the delivery truck. They were heavy. These are solid white oak. So I've got a mix of solid white oak and a mix of poplar paint grade doors. But let me show you guys what we're up against. So here's one of our paint grade pocket doors. This one is installed already. It's ready to be trimmed out. You can see I do have my strike jamb already installed. We keep them like this where they're just flush against the jamb all the way down. Because once I have my door plumb, I know that this is going to be plumb if I shim to it and I get that nice clean line all the way down my door. We're not coming back with like a little piece of trim right here on each side of the door. That's not the look that they want to do. That's not the look that I like anyways. So we've got it. You see it there. It did the soft close, and then we also have the soft open. These doors were large enough to do both. Show you guys which floor guide we're using. It's going to be the one where we have to cut a curve in the bottom of the door, and we have this little T guide right there. So this split jamb right here is the part that I really want to focus on today. And I'm going to show you really an easy way to get your jamb to be flush with the door. So in the same way that when this opens, we come over here and we're flush against our strike side, we want that same look that when it opens this way, we want these jambs to be flush right here. So with these 2x6 walls, I'm usually making my jambs about 2 3/8. So I have about 1/8 of an inch reveal on each side of the door when my finished jamb is in. So if I come to 2 3/8, that looks good right there. And I'm just going to check on this side as well. 2 3/8. That gets me pretty close to where I want, but really what I'm doing here, yours could be different, but I want 1/8 of an inch gap on each side of the door just to allow the door to move in and out freely through any seasonal changes, or if the door slightly warps or something, you never know. You don't want to put those jambs too tight on there and just sandwich it in there. So with that, I can go ahead and measure for my links here. We're going to go 96.5, and I'm going to do the same on this side. So I have my drywall screws right here, and I also have this jig that is going to tell me where to set those drywall screws. See, I have a hole here and a hole here. What this is going to do, this is going to come over to the door and go flush against the door, and I take a screw and go right through my jig. I want the head of that screw flush with my board. This flushes up with the door. The jamb material, which is Windsor, is nailed to the back of that. And then this kind of jig board, this piece of white oak, tells me where to set that. So now I'm going to do that several times. That's my shim right there. So now when I come back with my actual jamb board, not just the jig, you can see, if you look in there, I'm going to be up against my screw, of course, kind of dark in there. Let me grab this as a straight edge to show you guys. I'm right on where my screw is back there. And you can see we are flush, and that's exactly what we are after. This will make for a nice clean look so that you're not behind it, so that it's not like proud of it. You know, that's not a good look right there. When it closes to its position, we need it flush. And this is a really simple way to do this. Oh, and I almost forgot about something that's kind of important. So when we set our soft close in the wall, before all this drywall closed everything up, we set it so that this door is proud 1.25 inches, because we knew we were gonna have that 3/4 Windsor as our jamb boards, and our split jamb here in this case. So we gave ourselves a 1/2 inch to be able to adjust it, to get it to be flush with the door. Now the door is completely plumb as it sits right here. So there's not really much adjustment that needs to happen as far as like crazy shimming from one end to the other. Really, this jig is just making sure I'm set at that 1/2 inch. So if you're gonna do it this way, and I think most of the time you're gonna be jamming with 3/4, make sure that when your door hits the soft close, or the soft open rather in this case, or if it just hits the bump that's in the wall, that you have 1.25 inches proud off this rough framing, or otherwise it's not gonna work and you're gonna have to tear into this drywall and open it back up and adjust things, which is never fun. Now with all of my screws in, I can take my jamb board and put it up against the screws and check it to see if we're flush. And as expected, we are looking good. And the cool thing about the screws is that you can obviously kind of adjust them, right? Go in, come out as you need to if you're off somewhere. But this system works really good, and I rarely have to do that. So we're good on this side. And I always take that kind of white finished Windsor edge there, that clean side. I'm gonna put that in towards the door, because when these get painted, these aren't coming out. These doors cannot come out, okay? If you're gonna take these doors out, you're pulling this trim off. There's no other way around it. That is one reason I like to do it this way. I know some people will glue these split jambs on and just PL, put a ton of PL and just, it'll be all flush and everything. The problem with that is if you ever have some kind of maintenance that you need to do, I mean, these are nice like tracks and everything, but if you ever have an issue, you want to be able to get in there as least destructive as possible. And that's kind of my thought process behind shim this out to be flush with the door. Shoot it, don't glue it, don't put adhesive on there. So we're gonna get these pieces in first, our 2 side pieces, and then I'm gonna do the tops, which is another kind of thinking into the future mentality, because if I ever have to adjust something on that track up there or on the rollers, on those wheels, I can pop off the top piece without having to pop this off. So on pocket doors, really, I think the kind of theory for me at least is make them where you can, if you ever have to get in there, it's as easy as possible. There's going to be destruction, but that's at least my theory. So we're going to go ahead and get this in. Let's keep that 1/8 reveal, make sure we're flush with our drywall. And then what I like to do, you can see I put my screws in the same place. So I got a screw over here, then I know I've got a screw right here. I'm gonna just pin this in and that'll lock it in. I wanna shoot near the screw so I don't have this thing pull in. Like say if I shot right here in this section, it might suck it in and change my reveal so that I'm not flush with the door anymore. So the way we set this up is when we installed this inside jamb board that kind of wraps around our track, when we close this and we put our header jamb in, that's it. We're just nailing it straight to this piece of Windsor that's already up in there. It's gonna be the same thing with this one. As far as I'm gonna put the the primed edge, the clean edge towards the inside. I'm gonna flush up on this jamb over here. Flush on this one here. Tap up. So now if I pull this door closed, you can see I can't see the top of the door. It's housed in this pocket, right? Pocket door, that's what we want. You don't want to see any light through there. You don't want to see the top edge of that door. So we're covering it 1/4 of an inch down. And this is what I'm saying, like, that's why I put this piece in last, because now if I want to pull this off, I can pull that piece off and then look, I can get to all my stuff with a little bent wrench. I can look at my hardware, see how that's working, versus if I sandwich this in with my jamb legs, well, everything has to come off. So that's why specifically on pocket doors, I put this piece in last, and it's more accessible for maintenance. We've got this one complete, got this one complete. They really like pocket doors here. Got another one back here complete. Got one over here complete. And I'm waiting on material for my white oak ones. Like these things right here, these are super heavy. And one thing they did cool on these is, you see this plank right here? This is a fatter plank, so that when I come over and hide it with my jamb, it ends up being what you see, the same width as these planks. So a lot of thought went into these here, but it's going to be the exact same thing. And I can show you guys when I get that material how I cut it up and notch up there. And then I'm probably going to skin that piece of Windsor with some 1/4 inch rift white oak, just so that if you do see up in there, you're not seeing just this white board on these. Of course, these back here are the poplar, the one I just showed you, and all these back here. Kind of the secondary areas are going to be paint grade, and then the more common areas are going to have the stain grade white oak. So we got one there, one here, and then in here it's going to be really cool. Those are going to be all rift white oak as well. It's pretty sweet. Over here in this main area is where our big 4x9 pocket doors are. Look at this. This pushes in there. Check this sucker out right here.